A chilly November afternoon in Chicago. It was a brisk November afternoon in Chicago. The city buzzed with energy as streams of people hurried down Michigan Avenue, bundled in coats and scarves to fend off the chill. Amid the bustling crowd, one figure stood out, not for his fame, but for the air of contemplation that seemed to surround him. Donald Trump, clad in a long navy coat, red tie, and polished shoes, had chosen to walk back to his hotel after a meeting. He wanted to absorb the rhythm of the city, to see its people, and to reflect on what had always made America unique, its spirit of resilience. As he passed Millennium Park, something unusual caught his attention. On the sidewalk, against the cold gray facade of a building, sat a woman. Her clothes were worn and tattered, her face lined with exhaustion. In trembling hands, she held a cardboard sign that read, "Veteran in need. Please help." Trump stopped abruptly, his usual stride interrupted by the gravity of the scene. Passers-by glanced at him curiously, some recognizing the familiar face, while others dismissed him as just another pedestrian. Yet he was transfixed by the woman's weary eyes that had clearly seen more than their share of hardship. He approached her slowly, his polished shoes crunching against the concrete. The woman didn't look up immediately, too accustomed to being overlooked. "Ma'am," Trump said softly, his voice cutting through the noise of the street. "What's your name?" She startled, raising her head to meet his gaze. For a moment, she seemed unsure if he was speaking to her. "It's Teresa," she said hesitantly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Teresa Hensley." Trump crouched down to meet her at eye level. "Teresa," he repeated, "you're a veteran?" "Yes, sir," she replied, her voice faltering. "Served in the army for 12 years, got injured overseas, and well, things haven't been easy since." Trump nodded solemnly, absorbing her words. "Why are you out here? Don't you have a place to stay?" Teresa shook her head. "Lost my apartment months ago. Couldn't keep up with the rent. Been trying to get back on my feet, but it's hard, really hard." Her words struck Trump deeply. Here was a woman who had given over a decade of her life to serve her country, now reduced to seeking help on the streets. He couldn't simply walk away. Taking action, Trump reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "Teresa," he said firmly, "stay right here. We're going to fix this." Stepping a few feet away, he dialed a number. On the other end, his longtime assistant, Margaret, picked up immediately. "Margaret," he said briskly, "find the nearest hotel with availability and call a doctor, someone who can do a checkup on site. It's urgent." "Yes, Mr. Trump," Margaret replied without hesitation. "I'll handle it right away." Trump returned to Teresa, who was watching him with cautious hope. "Help is on the way," he assured her, "but first, let's get you something warm to eat." He flagged down a nearby food vendor and bought Teresa a steaming bowl of soup and a sandwich. As she ate, her hands trembling from the cold, Trump knelt beside her. "Tell me about your life, Teresa," he said gently. "What brought you here?" She hesitated at first, but soon began to open up. She spoke of her deployments, the comrades she had lost, and the injury that had ended her military career. She described the struggle of transitioning to civilian life and the series of events that had led her to the streets. Minutes later, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the curb. Margaret had worked quickly, as always. A well-dressed driver stepped out, holding the door open. "Teresa," Trump said, standing and offering his hand to help her up. "This is for you. We're taking you somewhere safe." A new beginning. The SUV whisked them away to a nearby luxury hotel. The staff, prepped by Margaret, greeted Teresa with warmth and respect. She was escorted to a suite on the top floor, where a hot shower, fresh clothes, and a warm bed awaited her. Soon after, a doctor arrived to examine Teresa. He provided medicine for her ailments and practical advice on how to regain her health. Trump stayed nearby, overseeing every detail to ensure she was well cared for. Meanwhile, Margaret had contacted Veterans United Support Services, a non-profit specializing in helping homeless veterans reintegrate into society. Within the hour, their representative, a cheerful woman named Lisa, arrived at the hotel to meet Teresa. "Teresa," Lisa said, sitting beside her on the plush sofa, "we're here to help. We'll find you housing, provide job training, and make sure you have everything you need to get back on your feet. You're not alone anymore." Teresa's eyes filled with tears as she turned to Trump. "I don't know how to thank you, Mr. Trump," she said, her voice steady yet emotional. "You don't need to thank me," Trump replied, his expression softening. "You earned this a long time ago." Building a brighter future. By the next morning, Teresa had a clear plan for her future. Veterans United had arranged temporary housing for her, and Trump's foundation had pledged to cover her rent for the first year. Additionally, he handed her a check to help with immediate expenses. Before he left, Teresa stopped him one last time. "Mr. Trump," she said, her voice filled with newfound determination, "you've changed my life in ways I can't even describe. Thank you." Trump smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You're going to do great things, Teresa. Just promise me one thing. Pay it forward someday." "I will," she said confidently. As Trump walked out of the hotel and back into the bustling city, he felt a profound sense of satisfaction. In just a few hours, one life had been transformed, and for Teresa Hensley, the future suddenly looked bright. Conclusion. And this brings us to the end of this story. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this tale, don't hesitate to like the video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for more inspiring stories. Have a great day.